Hello and welcome to H2O-Incorporated.com. My name is Thomas Hayat and I'm here today to speak about several things. The perpendicularity that I've precedingly talked about on another video and continue that with US presidencies so that we can stay on the US topic. And the other thing is two things. The first one is the rings of planets, how they play a mirror role, and the what to stay away from on YouTube. Okay, in 2012 there were few videos about astrology of generally real astrologers who actually spent decades studying the topic, who had some valuable things to share. And now it's become an abundance of very graphic videos, rich in graphics, but then it's computer generated. You don't see the face of the person who is talking to you, and you don't really hear their voice either because the voice is computer generated. And so all it ends up being is just a repeat and repeat of people trying to outdo each other in terms of graphics. But it doesn't really teach you that much of anything, and a lot of times things have something in them that are wrong, but it's not a small wrong. Like in Aquarius video of 45 minutes that I saw on YouTube with very pretty graphics, well presented and everything, the main problem was that the whole video was making Saturn the ruler of Aquarius because it was following Vedic astrology. Yeah, but at the time, Uranus was not discovered by telescopic equipment that we have today at NASA or the European Space Agency or any other, and so therefore, we didn't know. But you need to upgrade and update your system the same way you do with your phone or with whatever technology that appears. So everything needs to be taken into consideration, and there is an order of priority, as I said before, just as there is in mathematics. You don't just go willy-nilly interpreting things just because, well, that's how I feel about it. A fact is a fact. How we feel about it, how we think about it is not really going to affect that fact. The moon orbits in 28 days no matter what we think about it. And it will cause the tides no matter whether we agree with or do not agree with astrology, the definition of which being the effect of celestial object on us on Earth. And if fishermen go based on that and we eat based on the fishermen, then there must be some kind of logic behind it. And if the cyclicality of Christmas also falls with those celestial objects and the first of the year and spring and so on, there must also be some, so all the discreditation that is done by academicians towards astrology and the lack of academics from astrologers to not have any interest in real astronomy, that's what ends up being misleading because everybody wants to become an astrologer, but instead of taking the time to do the work, they learn three things and that's it, I'm gonna start making videos. And it's extremely annoying for people like me who are not astrologers but astrology engineer. There isn't really anybody like me out there. I've checked in many languages and it doesn't exist. So what I'm sharing here is really gold nuggets that would cost, a bundle, because I did spend a bundle for my education in college. I'm not just somebody who watched YouTube videos and read stuff on Facebook. Okay, my major was in electrical engineering. And I'm an HVAC technician by trade, which is the study of cold and hot, which is the very thing that constitutes our energy. And I'm EPA certified in 169 countries because I studied all the gases and their different boiling points. So I have a pretty good wrapping of what constitutes our universe. And when I say things, it's not out of what I think, but what I can actually prove. And so here's what I can actually prove. Rings act like a mirror. Whether on Uranus or around Saturn, there's a lot of water in our solar system. And that gathers around whatever small rocks there is, and it reflects light just as it does on the North Pole. So light takes 2 hours and 40 minutes to get to the rings, and 2 hours and 32 minutes to get back to Earth, because there is 8 minutes for light to travel from the sun to Earth. And that's how quickly it goes. Okay, so if the rings of Uranus, because it orbits in 84 years, So it has its ring for 42 years on kind of an edge, and then it starts turning, and then it comes to being like this. If we're the Earth here and the sun is shining from over here, it's going to reflect a surplus of light. Similarly with Saturn, whose rings are not perpendicular to where the sun is and Earth, but at a 45-degree angle, which is why when it comes back to this position every 30 years, if somebody else, if some other celestial object like the moon or the rings of Uranus reflects that light at the same time, that synchronicity will cause a 30-year cycle event to happen. In 1962, we had the Cuban Missile Crisis. Okay, Jupiter was in Pisces. I don't remember exactly where Saturn was, but what I do know is that in 2022, Jupiter was in Pisces again, just like in 1914 and 1939 for First and Second World War, and that caused the missile crisis of American missiles in Ukraine to trigger the Russian on an attack that they called defensive. And from 1962 to 2022, that's 60 years. That's twice the orbit of Saturn. And 84 years for the rings of Uranus, which do that, as I said, you know, they're on the side and then they come like here. 42 years before 2020, when the COVID was here, that was 1978, and that was the H1N1 virus plague. And with that, since we're on the plague topic, and I have this right here, the Indian who do practice Vedic astrology, on their national newspaper have posted then that they know pandemics happen every 100 years. And you can put it on a zodiac wheel, like so, and see that in here, which is the rat, the first sign of the Chinese zodiac, that's 2020. That was the year of the rat. 1720, that's when the plague entered the port of Marseille in the south of France and then contaminated the entirety of Europe. In 1420, that's when it entered Hong Kong and contaminated the whole of Asia. Okay? And that's by increments of 300 years. If you look from 100 years, as they posted on the Indian news website, you can find the cholera, and it repeats again. You can find 100 years before the Spanish flu, and those are big pandemics, so they can be actually predicted. But if everything is about discredit, like it often is in America, because it's always about competition, and when you do competition, there's a lot of oversight, and you go too fast. And that's why I have to leave and go back to France, because you can't talk to people who see life in a form of a pyramid or a pedestal, you know, and unfortunately, that's where the 4th of July is. It's in Cancer. And on Cancer Capricorn axis, what you have is work in Capricorn. That's what defines a Capricorn. It's just work, work, work. That's Jeff Bezos. Okay? And Cancer is Elon Musk. And where Cancer is, when Jupiter is there, it's called the horse, the year of the horse. Instead of the sun spending 1 month here, and we call that Cancer, when the Jupiter spends is in the same 30 degree of the sky, we call that the year of the horse. It takes it 1 year to go across. And so you have a horse and you have work. Work, horse, work, horse, work, horse. That's all it is. It's a run after money and possession to be at the top of the world. That's not me. I'm an Aquarius. I'm a humanitarian. My opposite sign, and the other half of the coin that I am, I have a front and I have a back, right? The other side of me could be dominant, because the sun is the center of the solar system, so it dominates the scenery, right? And it is, in fact, my co-governor, like a timeshare on this hallway, okay? I get along fine with certain Leos, less with others, and I have a very strong attraction with a specific type of Leos. I know that, so now I stopped doing the mistakes that I did before, which was get hitched by become a hitchhiker by Jupiter's magnetic tug, you know. And instead of doing that, now I've learned what makes good teams and why they work well. So I said I was going to talk about the president and all that. Well, we're going to get into that. Let me see. Time is 10 minutes. It's still good. I'll try to go as quickly as I can. So we go back to our back scratchers. And perpendicularity and so on. You move the camera a wee bit closer. And drop it down just a shred. So you can get the whole picture. All right. So here we go. Joe Biden is a Cancer. Joe Biden is a Scorpion born in 1942 with Jupiter in Cancer. So that means that you can see the Earth here in Scorpio, across from Taurus, second sign, second letter B for Biden, right? And he is a Scorpio. His vice president, Kamala Harris, KH, he's over here, KH, right? You see them. They're opposites. Opposites attract. They made best running mate, and they came to the very top of the US presidency. Now, when Joe Biden was vice president of Barack Obama is a Leo born with Jupiter in Aquarius, and that is 90 degrees relative to his Scorpio sign, right? And they're both fixed signs. And they're exactly 20 years apart, which means that because Uranus takes 84 years to go around, and Uranus is the co-ruler of Leo, their Uranus also intercept at 90 degrees. And when you have that co-ruling intercept, you have a perfect intercept. And they gave us the Obamacare, which was very humanitarian because of the light that was shown by the son of Obama presidency, because Leo is governed by the sun, and the sun in a straight line goes to Aquarius. Okay? Light doesn't do that. It doesn't turn 90 degrees unless you have mirrors, which are the rings of Uranus or Saturn. So suppose the rings of Uranus or Saturn are over in Capricorn and the light shines here. Well, it's going to reflect this, what the ambition of this house is, not your ambition. The sun might be here, but the interest at this time is this, the pedestal of work, of the workhorse. So whoever has very strong values in whichever house, those houses will be reinforced particularly by Jupiter, which magnifies everything. And so if instead of a straight light like the sun, okay, you have something flickering that goes around, well, that's what a lunatic relationship is like. Oops. You know, it becomes chaotic because it's up and down and up and down and up and down, and things not moving at the same rhythm becomes very disorientated. And so to get back to my perpendicularity and the reverse functions I was talking about in the other video about perpendicularity, we have Biden with the sun here, okay, who cannot see eye to eye with Vladimir Putin, who was born with Jupiter here. We don't have the same function here. One is the sun, the other one is Jupiter. And where Vladimir Putin has the sun is in Libra, which is on this axis, which is perpendicular to where, what you call it? Joe Biden has it. Joe Biden, 1942, Jupiter in Cancer, but the sun of Putin is in Libra, and for the year of birth of Putin, which I forgot, puts Jupiter over in Taurus, opposite to where he has the sun. So those are not proper perpendicularities, and that's why we're at war. Because people understand partially angles, partially astrology, but they don't take the time to really look at the order of priority. The sun, then Jupiter, then your co-governors. And that's what matters. And I think I'll stop there, because otherwise we start making videos that people will not have time to watch. So anyway, I'll get into more details if I see that something else needs to be added, and pass it along, because I'm not here to try to sell you anything or save you $100 on car insurance. I'm here to save you decades of wasted time, because you got attracted to the wrong person with the wrong element, and you're going to waste your interest and your own ambition just pushing after somebody else's ambition, which has nothing to do with what you wanted to do with your life. So don't lose your life just because you misinterpret astrology. All right, if you like astrology, then study it properly. Thanks. Bye.